Okay, so this video covers the gluing down the template for the Nashorn tank destroyer. First thing I want to say is you don't have to glue down the gun. You can if you want to. It makes it a little bit more durable, but it's just an example and sort of a guide to build it. And the other thing I want to say right away is that anything outlined in yellow, you don't want to glue down to cereal box. You want to glue it down to cue card paper. It's a thinner gauge effect. The easiest way to do it is to have a ruler handy and either a rag or some paper towel or something. And I'm going to use 2-to-1 glue for this, which is like basically 2 glue, 1 water. So the wateriest glue I will use for any operation though. And cereal box selection is fairly important. You might want to test fold a little bit of the cereal box. Use a dulled utility knife to just score it a little bit and see if it folds easily. If it doesn't, or if it doesn't fold straight, choose a different kind, because there's wide variation and it makes a big difference as to how the model goes together. So I just take some glue here. I'm just gonna kind of liberally spread it over the area that I believe that this piece will take up. Now this glue is a bit dry. I'm going to add some water before the next piece. And then take your piece and the ruler. Start at one end and use the ruler to make sure it goes down really flat. And especially when you're using more watery glue than this, you'll see glue sort of come out the edges. And that's good because you want to make sure there's no like areas that aren't glued down and also pools of glue, like puddles, underneath it. So get it down nice and flat. And be careful, you might, especially, I'm going to add some water to this glue anyways, but if you're using watery glue, quite often you will push some out from underneath the piece, and you need to be careful not to smudge the template. So have your paper towel ready to kind of wipe the edge of your ruler before continuing. Okay, that was a lot of water. Let's see how this works though. You might want to leave a little bit of space between the pieces too, for the same sort of reason, because the watery glue will come out underneath it. And you want to have some room to get your rag or your paper towel in there to wipe away the excess. So you wouldn't want to do a piece any larger than this or this. These are about as big as you can get away with. This is even maybe a bit excessive, but hopefully I can get it to work. Now, if you printed the template a couple of weeks ago, it won't smudge anymore because the ink's dry enough. But often you glue the template down on the same day you print it out, so that will cause smudging if you're not careful. Okay, so glue down all the pieces just like I showed you here. It's a fairly simple process, but remember to leave room between all the pieces. And for these ones that are surrounded by yellow, I'm going to glue those to cue card paper. Now, you don't have to sand this down. You have to sand down the cereal boxes. Not, like, obviously you don't want to sand off the glossy side, but you want to sand it down and glue your template to the glossy side. But when you're doing it to cue card paper, you don't have to worry about that because there is no glossy side, and so there won't be an issue with one side being more difficult to glue to than the other. Just take your pieces, use the same method. And don't worry too much if this warps on you. It's gonna do that anyways. And the pieces are generally so small that when you cut them out, it's not hard to get rid of any warping that happens while you're gluing stuff down. So glue these pieces to the cue card paper. You don't have to glue this down at all. Everything else goes onto cardboard, and you're good for the next step. Thanks for watching. See you soon.